And our Robert, knowing that I was there, ran over to Kid Dope and banged him and took it. I think it was like a bag of, if I remember correctly, they were chocolate limes or something like that. Such a memory. And Kid Dope went down with a and blood went flying out of his nose, and he jumped up and he ran off and he went, "I'm getting our Tucker, I'm getting our Tucker." So so he was related. There was a family relationship between um, Kid Doke, the Dokes, Big Willie Doke, Keith Doke, all those Dokes, and the Wilsons, Tucker. So Kid Doke ran over to South Bank, up Grillaway or Kilbrony Bend, which I can't exactly remember which street it was, and Tucker lived in like a sort of a wee cul-de-sac part in the corner. So Tucker opened up the door, and he was in his bare feet sort of thing, and he saw Kid Doke with the blood goes down his nose. So he's like, "Who did that to you?" And he went, "It happened over in the park." Wait a minute. So he hadn't said anything about what exactly what had happened. So Tucker wore this pair of oxblood Dr. Martin boots when he was going out. He wore black ones, but if he wore the Dr. Martin oxblood boots, that meant he was out on the. So he got the oxblood boots because he was going over, for a bit of a blattern sort of thing. So he had one boot almost on, and he turned around and he said, "Who was it that did it?" And Kid Doke said, "Big Harv." And Tucker said, "Big Harv, yes." And Tucker took the boot off and went, "I think you better go and sort that out by yourself." And that was, for not being a fighter, I had a reputation that I could still look after myself, sort of thing. So Tucker, there was no way he was coming down, and he probably could have wiped me out, but he wasn't going to take that chance because he had the reputation already, and then I was 17, 18 or whatever at the time, so I was getting, I was getting bigger, but it's just that, I'm trying to indoctrinate that into JJ, from the point of view of, being brotherly, and having your younger brother look up to you as someone that, isn't going to fight your battles, but will be there for you, if you're needed. And I was there a lot of times for Robert. And by the way, it worked out both ways, because I remember I got my first motorbike, a Yamaha RD 250. Had never ridden a motorbike in my life. Robert was able to ride one, and my mum and dad came back from from Spain, and they had bought me like a bottle of it was like, I don't know, it was like some Spanish brandy or whatever you get. So I had a couple of wee nips of that. Like it was I can't remember what age it was, 16 or whatever. And then I decided I'm gonna go out, get on the bike, go for a vroom round the place. So put the helmet onto the bike, and away off I went, and everything was going great. And then I came to Montmorion Avenue, round by St Andrew's Church, or sorry, the Church of the Pentecost, down round by down heading down towards Bell's Bridge. But there's a camber in the road there, so there's sort of there's a bend, and then there's a dip. So I should have thrown the bike over, to go round, but I because I wasn't experienced enough, I kept the thing up, and the bike basically went on straight instead of going around the bend. Ended up in the lamp post, front forks bent, boom, and me, up the road, and I always remember my head hitting the ground a lot of times before I finally came to a stop, and I could hardly move. And whenever I actually was able to, sort of get myself together, I looked up and lifted up my head, and there was Robert, and he had been right at the there was like a wee bridge, and him, and funnily enough, Kid Doke. I think they were drinking Buckfast and smoking and whatever. But they ran over and picked me up, and I had broken ribs and stuff, and luckily I had the helmet on, and they pushed the motorbike up to Sammy Stevenson's house, by the way. Um, and stored it there so that my mum and dad wouldn't see it. Because, and I had to go to school the next day with, like, bandages wrapped around me. The when you break your ribs, there's nothing anybody can do about it anyway. But at the same time, because everything was done really fast, because I didn't have any insurance or anything for the bike. I just bought the bike. I thought I was like, and I only got it because I wanted to be the big lad, because Maggie Reed, Margaret, I I was going out with her just before that, and she was able to ride a motorbike, and I felt, I'm gonna have to get one here, for it to be like a man. And then it lasted about 3 days, from banning it to ending up never owning a motorbike ever again. I sold it for parts. Everything except the forks, they were unredeemable. And Davey, I don't remember Davy's second name. He actually, I don't know. I sold the motorbike for parts and said bye bye to any idea of ever riding a motorcycle again. But Robert was there. He was there right at the right moment. So no police involved, no big drama or whatever. He was there with a few friends over, picked up the bike, picked me up, brought me home, brought the bike over to Sammy Stevenson's. Scene cleared. But that's how this sort of you go with the swings and the roundabouts, because I was there when he needed me, and he was there when I needed him, and that's what I'm trying to drum into. That's what I'm trying to drum into the JJ about him and his brother. Don't cover his mouth. Don't hit him. Let him speak. Give him a wee moment or two. Because he might be actually trying to tell you something that he needs help with, and maybe he's coming to you because you're the only one that can help him with it. But so as I say, moving on. One thread leads into the other, as you know. So yeah, just thinking about Robert, and but he was always fortunate, really fortunate. Now there was this one time, back in 1984, I was singing for Ashanti, and we played in the Bagot Inn in Dublin, and these Southern guys saw the band, saw me singing, and wanted me to sing for them. So they actually sent up a delegation up from Dublin, well, actually from Arklow, up to Belfast, got me and said, listen, this is a full-time job, and they were being looked after by the Def Leppard organisation and stuff, and they were all set to be the next big thing. So the band was called No Sweat. If you look them up, you'll see that they were a brilliant band, outstanding. Even back then, and I had to then go down to Arklow and live down there. But I was married to Margaret at the time, and Lindsay was she wasn't that. She was about, I don't know, 11 months or something at that stage. She was really small. She was still crawling anyway. But there were good days, there were good times in a way, because Margaret would come down and we would make a weekend of it, and we'll, as soon as if she saw me, I'll always remember, the first time I was away from her. I think I left on the Thursday and she was coming down on the Saturday. And big Stevie Wright pulled up with the car, or Margaret drove down, I can't remember, but she saw me just outside